Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this episode, definitely we are going to cover as much as we can the hottest week in since the coup of 25th of October 2021. Last week, it witnessed actually major speedy actions and escalation in the resistance committees movement in the streets. So it was a really abnormal week, which at the end, just before the end of it, the trio brokers or the trio committee of IGAD and UNITAMS and African Union held the first session of the dialogue, which was completely rejected and did not appear and present in the most important faction of the resistance committees, the FFC, the Forces of Freedom and Change. So after that followed another meeting, informal meeting, which included three of the military components and three of the FFC, the Civilian Freedom and Change. So that's why I'm inviting and very greatly honored to have with me one of the active persons in the arena, political arena. This is now, it is boiling. Dr. Abdul Halim Teman. Dr. Abdul Halim Teman is Assistant President of Ummah National Party, and he's following closely all what is going actually, whether in the trio or whether in the FFC or the Ummah Party, so that's why I think he can give us an insight about what is happening. So welcome, Dr. Abdul Halim Isa Teman. Dr. Abdul Halim, I want to start this dialogue, my first question, by the end results of the week since we met last time in this the Dialogue Horizon. In about 48 hours, or let us say 72 hours, things moved very quickly. And the country, Sudan, the capital, witnessed very speedy steps, like all of a sudden calling for the first session of the dialogue, which was proposed by the trio, the UNITAMS, the IGAD, the African Union, and invited all people in the arena. But actually, who were present were not, almost less than half of the important component. Those who appeared or present, these were the FFC, Freedom, Forces and Change, the Charter faction, which included some of the Revolutionary Front and some of the other parties and armed struggle forces. But the majority did not appear, and adamant about not appearing in a dialogue with whether it is conducted by the trio or by anyone before their demands. They have specific demands to be met. Before that, they cannot sit. So first, tell us about your feeling about the progress, what started on Friday, the dialogue of the trio, the trio, international trio, who invited certain people, but more than half of them did not appear. What is your assessment to the first session, and will it continue and lead to fruitful solution to the break the impasse?
Thank you for having me, and greetings to dear viewers. First of all, we in Ummah National Party and with our friends in the Front, Freedom and Change front, we welcome the efforts of Mr. Volker Perthes, the special envoy of the Secretary General of United Nations, and the efforts also of the African Union and the IGAD and our regional partners and our neighbors. We definitely share and agree with them that Sudan is witnessing a great challenge. And we believe that the magnitude of challenge and risks are unprecedented and they are very dangerous, and that this may be our last chance before sliding in any chaos or disintegration of the country. So despite all this, we are of course governed by the clear, just demands of our nation for peace, justice and freedom. So we are very keen to find solutions for this current political crisis, but we have clear vision on how to do this. And returning to the political process that started in Rotana Hotel, we have seen that, and even the tripartite mechanism, after they evaluated this, they said that this cannot produce an agreement that will lead to a stable transitional period. That is why they will do their clear qualifications. And concerning our vision about the political process, we believe that the political process must first begin with a clear definition, and that the political process must be designed perfectly so that we will not produce any speedy agreement as they did in November between Dr. Hamdok and General Burhan. I don't think the meetings of Salam Rotana will produce any agreement that will be supported by the nation. And as you have seen yesterday, the protests in the streets continued. And this is the same thing that happened after Dr. Hamdok and Burhan agreement. So I'm sure unless this agreement is done in a framework that first of all considers the aspirations of the nation, and must be done with the presence of the revolutionary components and the political parties, the resistant committees and other institutions who have brought this revolution. So this is one, and as you have seen, and after the tripartite mechanism have evaluated the results of the Rotana Salam meeting on the 8th of this month. Yesterday there was an important meeting which is not done through the tripartite.
Let me interrupt just before we go to the second meeting. So, as a direct reply to my question is that you are saying what happened on 8th of June, the Wednesday, the first meeting of the tripartite mechanism or whatever you call it, you are saying that it will not produce something applicable.
Yes. Yes.
If it continues. Yes. But I doubt whether it will continue on one leg. Lurching on one leg, it cannot continue. This is biologic, because the other leg, the important leg, the right leg, is missing. So that's why they felt the trio or the tripartite mechanism. They felt that there is something wrong, but they should have predicted it well before calling for a meeting like this. Why did they call for this meeting, Dr. Halim? Although they know that the majority will boycott the meeting. Why did they call? And I think they are embarrassed by now. I think so. Why did they call for this from the beginning? Once you feel that something is not going on, at least you postpone it. So now we are saying that the presentees of the first meeting, they are not holding differences between them or between the military components. So they cannot produce something which can be applicable in my mind to stop the rallies of the streets. Now let us go to the second question, which is, you started answering it. Following the meeting of Wednesday, yesterday, on Thursday 9th, the assistant of Secretary of State of America, Molly Fee, who stayed for the first time, I think, a top official American stays for 5 days in a row, 5 continuous days. This means they are very much concerned about what's happening in Sudan. And this will, I will come to this question later about why this concern about Sudan. But she stayed about 5 days, and she insisted on asking the other components who did not appear in the session, which held. So can you tell us about who were present on the meeting, and from both sides, from the side of by the way, it is not the tripartite. It is initially from Moli. Just tell us about this meeting. Who called for the meeting? Is it the tripartite of Iqlid, or Moli alone, and the Saudi ambassador also? I think it was held in his residence. Just tell the viewers something about this meeting and the outcome of the meeting, or the expected, and your feeling about its success in breaking the deadlock.
Yes, you are right. It is an initiative from the ambassador of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it was held in his house in the presence of the American delegation. And
so this had nothing to do with the tripartite?
Yes,
nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't contradict with the tripartite mechanism that supports all efforts that can build trust between the different components of the transition.
So who were present, you said?
Yeah, this meeting was held in the presence of 3 representatives from the FFC front, and 3 representatives from the political
who were they
military
from?
component.
FFC, who represented FFC? The 3?
Yes, and the names are in the media, and 3 of them attended.
In the media, it's appeared in the media.
Yeah.
It's not a secret now.
It's not a secret
because they are holding today. They are holding a press.
Yeah, because this is one of the conditions that was put by the Freedom and Change Front, that any information about this meeting should be publicly announced. And I think this is a very important fact. And yesterday, after the meeting, there was a statement issued by the 3 parties. There is a statement that issued by the American Embassy in Khartoum. There is another statement that was issued by the Embassy of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and there is also a statement that it was issued by the Freedom and Change Front. And today there is a press release or conference that is held in Ummah Party Center concerning this meeting. And this reflects 2 facts. First of all, that maybe the Assistant Foreign Minister of the United States, Mr. Molifi, has evaluated the 8th of June meeting in Salam Rotana, and maybe after some evaluation, of course, will be in coordination with the tripartite mechanism. It's clear that they have evaluated that first meeting, and maybe they are trying to say the same thing that Dr. Wadlubat said also, during the meeting that with the absence of the influential partners and the revolutionary components, we cannot
So actually the
proceed.
meeting was between
The meeting
just
was between the
FFC
yeah, from one side, the military
the
component,
and
from
the military
other side.
component.
Yeah.
Each side they're represented by three.
Yes.
I think
and
the
in
military component, Major General Kabashi and Hamiti and Ibrahim Jabir. Yes.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Then you have three of the military component and three of the FFC.
Yes,
Three
yes,
of the
yes.
FFC.
In the presence of the.
Who selected the three? Are they representing the FFC? Really representing?
Of course. These
Because
are
what I hear, maybe don't, what I hear that I think Wasif al-Birir of Ummah Party Secretary General, Yasser Arman of Revolution Front, and Taha Osman of the professionals. But were they nominated or asked by who? Have an idea? You have maybe something.
Yeah,
if
any delegation must, of course,
be represented,
be nominated through the internal mechanisms of
the FFC
institutions of the FFCs. Yes.
Okay,
There's
okay.
no doubt about that.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah,
Now go on.
And of course, as I said, this meeting reflects that the basic evaluation of the eighth meeting in Salam Rotana was not positive in the eyes of the tripartite and the Americans and all those people who are supporting us. The second fact is that this reflects that it is not true that the FFC and Ummah parties, they are boycotting any negotiations. No, they are not boycotting negotiations. They accept and adopt negotiations as a principle for solving the differences between the political parties. But the differences in the approach, we in Ummah Party and FFC, we believe that the correct definition of the political crisis is the 25th October coup and the consequences and the decisions that brought back the members of the previous regime into sensitive and influential posts in the government, and that any correct framing or design of the political process must begin with this fact, and that in this process, in the first phase, the parties should be the revolutionary components from one side and the political and the military component from the other side to end the coup. And then after that, the second phase will be between the revolutionary components, for example, the FFCs, the resistance committees, and other revolutionary components from one side, the revolutionary front, and the military component, in order to agree on transitional arrangements and to return to the constitutional path. This is phase 2. And then phase 3, there will be a chance for all national components to come and participate in important issues that will put or set the first and necessary grounds for strategic transition to democracy. Among them, of course, elections, writing the constitution, and so we are not against expansion of the participation base. We are just talking about the phase where anybody, according to the criteria, who can join when, and this is very important. So we don't want to produce any agreement that will not survive. So this is a major difference between the approach of the past that began in Salam Rotana and the vision of FFC and Ummah Party. So I think we have submitted this vision to the tripartite mechanism, and I think this is very important. We are not against negotiations. We accept negotiations as a principle to solving political differences, and still we are ready to negotiate, but we are governed by the aspirations and the just goals of our nation.
Okay. Now from what you're saying, this is yesterday, Molly, the Assistant Secretary of State of America, and the Saudi ambassador, they held a meeting with the FFC, the other bloc, let us say. It seems to me that there are now not 2, 3 blocs. Are they going to sit with these people? The third bloc, which is the most important, is the resistance committees. Now it seems, now we are in Ummah Party, and you know that the resistance committees are no longer listening to the FFC, and they are attacking it. Today I read in most of the resistance committees in Khartoum, big resistance committees, they are condemning the step of meeting which was held by the FFC and the military component, as invited by Mori, the Assistant Secretary of State of America. And so what about the third bloc, Dr. Abdul Halid Teman? Are you considering them, recognizing them as important factor and player in the political arena? You are the Ummah Party or the Freedom and Forces. Are you really recognizing that this is a sizable and important bloc which is moving the streets now alone, without any affiliation to parties so far? What can you say about this third bloc? Don't you think they deserve to be asked or discussed, or to be? I think they sat with the American. Maybe, I'm not sure, but why people are not paying attention to the resistance committees?
No, quite the contrary. According to the strategic vision of the FFC and the Ummah Party, and as I mentioned, we think that in the first step, and after we define clearly the crisis as a crisis caused by the 25th coup and its consequent decisions, we said that in phase 1 we must first solve the problem of the coup and reverse the situation and return things to normal. And in this phase, I mentioned that the parties will be the FFC, for example, and the resistance committees and other revolutionary components from one side, and the military component from the other side. So we are considering their importance and their presence since the first phase of negotiations.
Now they are free. We can call it they are at large, not controlled by their own committees. But anyhow, let us move to another step. So what you are saying that now it's something good that the Moli, before she left back to her country, she met with the FFC, which means, as you said, which means that they are a little bit skeptical about the first meeting of the Rotana, the first session of the. So it seems that they are not happy, or they are convinced. I think one of the members of the tripartite, maybe with the bat or something, he said without the presence of the other component, the session, the negotiation will not be productive, will not, which is true. That's why they went to meet FFC, the original. I call it the original. This is the FCC, you are the original. This is the Central Committee. And also we are saying that you in the Ummah Party and others, they are recognizing the importance and the role played and is played and will be played by the resistance committees, so they have to coordinate with them in a way or another. Okay, let's go back to another question, another thing about UNITAMS. The mandate of UNITAMS was supposed to end on the 3rd of June, last week. And many people many people, almost all people who were present on the Rotana meeting, they were against the UNITAMs, and they took to the street. They formed a rally which took to the street asking for the ending the mission of UNITAMs or Volker, but elevate the United Nations, after evaluating the process, the progress of work, and after hearing the report of Volker, decided unanimously, I mean, with Russia and China, who used to wield the veto card if they don't like anything. So it went, the renewal of the mandate of UNITAMs was passed by the Security Council unanimously. No abstainers, no rejections. So Sudan, or the authorities, do they have the right to after the new to reject or to ask for aborting it? Or although we are members in the United Nations, is it likely that Sudan, if to ask the United Nations Security Council to end and to abort the mandate of the UNITAM, is it likely to happen?
First of all, we must all agree that Sudan is a member of the United Nations.
Okay.
And this is not a new fashion, or the United Nations normally intervenes in troubled areas, and this is a responsibility of the United Nations. The second fact is that this man, he is here according to a demand by the ex-Prime Minister Dr. Hamdok, and he attended here under Chapter 6. And before UNITAMs, there was UNAMID.
In Darfur.
Yeah, in Darfur. And of course, we have a previous cooperation with the United Nations. So it is not only during this government. The UNAMID was here, and before UNAMID, there was UNAMIS. And so the United Nations is present in Sudan for more than 14 years here. So this is just a continuation, and Sudan cannot get out of its problems without the assistance and cooperation with the international community. So this is a positive intervention if we define the role of the United Nations and their role in this negotiation as facilitators only, and that the agendas of the negotiations are Sudanese agenda. And according to this kind of relationship, I think their intervention will be positive. The United Nations is currently engaged in solving the problem in Libya, in Yemen, they previously also intervened in the West Africa, many West African countries, and they have histories, success histories there in Sierra Leone and in Liberia, and also in Kosovo and many troubled areas around the world. So we are part of the United Nations, and we are a member, and we must look to this cooperation as a chance. And Sudan also needs the help so that we can move to a democratic state, and we need the world in economic cooperation, in political stability, and also we have a geopolitical position that is very important for the international peace and security. So Sudan is neighboring many countries, and it has crossing borders without any obstacles to most parts of Africa. It has a proximity to coasts of Europe through Libya, and where roads are open in all directions from Sudan to Libya. and we also know that Sudan is also a gate for migration, illegal migration, and trafficking, and all these issues. So they concern the international community. So we cannot separate ourselves from the world. We are
So we cannot ask for expulsion of the UNITAM. Definitely we cannot do that. And even if we have the chance, or even we try, it is not something good, because you are, as you are saying, you are a member of the United Nations. So you cannot. So it direct answer, Sudan cannot, because remember UNAMID, the hostage regime was adamant, was trying, and the president was vowing not to allow a single military of soldier in the soil of Sudan, and it came not only 26,000 soldiers. So the United Nations is not a joke. Yeah, once they said, this is the Security Council of the world, Security Council of the world, they decided unanimously to renew. So it is extremely difficult to go out of this framework of the decision. But as you said in your last statement that those who came, as we know, the assistant of Secretary of State of America, Molly, it's not the first time. She was here in November, few months back. And again, stayed 5 years, also accompanied by Adam Deng, who is the human rights expert of the United Nations. So it seems that there is a real concern about Sudan, although there are other parts in the world, other parts like Syria, like Lebanon, like Libya, like also, yes, the United Nations is concerned about it. But America is more concerned than the United Nations. To what extent, to what do you attribute this concern to Sudan in particular? Sudan is not the only place in the globe which has political problems or wars or civil wars. But Sudan, it seems that there is a real concern about the international community, especially America, and regional Saudi Arabia also. Can you just give us why all this concern, and also are they genuine about the democratic civilian rule? Some people, some of them, they call that they are not very much hoping to go for full democratic governance, full like Westminster of Inglaterra or like America. Are they genuine? So these are one or two questions in one package. You can answer also in one package. First, start by the concern, the visits, the shuttle diplomacy, the visits.
It's true that Sudan is very important geopolitically for the world and for the region. The first fact is that Sudan now neighbors 5 countries that are going through a period of transition.
5 years.
5 countries: Libya, Chad, Central Africa, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. And we have also Egypt as a country that has just emerged from Arab Spring Revolution that has adopted the previous regime of Hosni Mubarak. So in addition to the position of Sudan on the Red Sea, with a coast that extends to more than 700 kilometers. So any slide of Sudan into chaos will mean the transmission of this chaos to most parts of Africa. Especially Sudan is crossing borders without any obstacles to all parts of Africa. In addition, as I mentioned before, it is proximity to coasts of Europe through Libya, where roads are open to Libya from all directions. So any chaos, disintegration of the country or a split of the country or a slide of country into chaos will mean the transmission of this chaos to the whole region.
Spill over to other
Yes.
neighboring countries.
And also the regional countries through the Red Sea will be affected. As you mentioned, our neighbors also on the other coast, like Saudi Arabia and the rest. So Sudan is very important. So this is why we think that a stable and strong Sudan is benefit for all, because we need a strong Sudan that can maintain its borders through helping Sudan. And we must talk to the international community that we need your cooperation, both international and regional community, that we need your cooperation in order to achieve political stability and form a civilian government that can build one army, one national army, and make necessary reforms in the other security institutions and build a strong economy so that we can maintain our borders and we can contribute positively in international peace and security. So this reflects the concern of the world about Sudan. Of course, there is another factor, the issue of the natural resources, because many people talk also about agenda of the other countries in our resources. But I think the geopolitical importance of Sudan is far important from the
natural resources.
Natural resources importance. Yes. So this is why Sudan is very important geopolitically to the world.
You said something very important, because the viewers maybe they want to know the involvement of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is one of the countries which has deep historic relation with Sudan. Since all regimes of Sudan, they held good relation with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia also did not spare any effort or money to help Sudan during quite a long period. Now, as you said, to the viewers, maybe they want to know, Saudi Arabia, they have a very critical coastal line with Sudan. The Red Sea is 853 kilometers long. The Red Sea in Sudan, which is shared by Saudi Arabia, and which, as you know, is not wide. It's not so very much. Saudi will be disturbed by any regime or any system or any instability which affects the safety of Sudan. So it's quite normal that Saudi Arabia is involved, and I'm happy that it is now involved in the negotiations. And I think the ambassador bin Jafar is very active and is playing a good role. But after all, we have to commend the effort of Saudi Arabia in the meetings of yesterday or later. The involvement of Saudi Arabia definitely is something positive, because they are definitely will give a helping hand. Definitely, if things go in the right direction of this stability of Sudan. Okay, now we know something about the security and safety of the region, one of the reasons for the concern, why people are concerned. You are saying that not only the food or the resources, because the world will face food shortage, very acute food shortage in the long run, because of the explosion of the population of the globe. And the resources are limited and not increasing or coping with the increase in the population. So definitely the shortage of food is imminent. Still, Sudan is virgin. It has a lot of lands not yet cultivated. It has water, rainwater or river water, and the potential for agriculture is very high. It will be a very important factor in the near future. Maybe this is the reason. This is your answer to the concern. Why the concern of the international community, especially America, to Sudan. Now let us move to another important issue, a local issue. We come back. As you remember, Dr. Halim, Juba agreement signed on October 3rd of October 2020, and the transitional period, according to the constitutional document, the amended or nullified or revoked constitutional document after 25th of October. Now, anyhow, the coup of 25th of October did not abolish or revoke the whole constitutional document, but it stopped some articles. But still the article of the duration of the transitional period is there, 3 years, and almost we are left with only one year or. So what will be the position of the Juba agreement and the implementation and the situation? And now it's passing very fast. Nothing in Juba agreement was implemented, especially the DDR, which is the most important factor in the stability of the country. DDR, to those the viewers, it's a disarmament, demobilization first, stopping of any wars, demobilization, disarmament, taking the weapons, and reintegration. This is the DDR. Reintegration in one national army. So this part of Juba agreement, nothing sizable, nothing feasible was done, and time is passing by. So what is your comment on this? What will happen if till that time people did not agree? Will the military component continue ruling after 1 year? After 1 year from now, almost 1 year or a few months, according to the constitutional document, the transitional period expires and it ends. So what will happen? And bearing in mind that till this moment we are talking on this Friday, on the 10th of January, nothing positive appears in the horizon. So what is your assessment, or what is your feeling to what will happen if the deadlock is not broken?
Again, we must say that the 25th coup has cut off the path of the transitional period, and it has stopped all other developments. And now, this is the 8th month since the coup.
Yes.
So we are approaching almost a year of the transitional period as being a coup period. So this needs correction, and as you said, it is very important to go according to the steps of the Constitution until we reach fair and free elections. But all depends on political stability as a first step. Without achieving political stability and without returning to the transitional path and correcting this coup and forming a complete civilian government and bringing about political stability and consensus between the transitional components, we cannot go to any other step. The second step will be the cooperation with the international community. And here comes the importance of the budgets that are normally designed to support the peace agreement. And as you know, after the coup, all these budgets that are based on the international pledges were postponed. So now we think that we must return to the transitional path again, and we must also form or agree on constitutional arrangements. And then after that, we restore our cooperation with the international community and begin also we continue, and then we will continue on our economic reforms that has shown great results in the last year. So all this will help in order so that our path to fair and free elections will be somewhat reasonable. And here also there are some important issues concerning the transitional period, which is a fair and free elections that depend on the consensus, the census, the population census, and also forming the electoral commissions committee and other transitional institutions. All that must be done so that we have a stable transitional period that will lead us to fair and free elections.
Okay, Dr. Harim, now we are almost wrapping up, coming to the end of my last question is about the East. As you know, the East also, there's some upheaval in the East. The Bija tribes and the component and the Tirik, the leader, he resigned, now he is back, not resigned. But still the Bija, they are not satisfied with the Juba, their track, unless something is being done on this. They will not be appeased, that they will not, still they are wielding the weapon of clothing the East. So what is your comment on this? We have only 3 minutes. What is your comment on this and the effect, the economic effect on the country, the blockage of the lifeline from Port Sudan, the only port, to Khartoum?
First of all, we support the demands of our people in the East, and they have just demands, and they lack basic necessities of daily life, and they are suffering. And we know that after, since the formation of the Bija Congress in 1958, they are continually demanding justice, and they are also asking for development and all these things until they raised a weapon on the central government, and they began their military struggle against the center. But the recent developments are not in this direction. So we hear that Tirik has announced that he has contributed in this role of the civilian government, and this does not match with the demands of our people in the East. So he diverted, there's a divergence from the path to the goals of our people in the East. This is a very important development, and at the same time also the tools that he used also are not in the interest of the whole country, because Sudan depends a lot on the proceeds from the customs, from the imports through the East, and this also affects the credibility of our borders international, and as you know, business and commerce depend on long-term contracts. All these are affected. So we will continue to suffer from these decisions for a long time. But also concerning the peace and the tracks, we think that the crisis in Sudan is a comprehensive crisis. It's not only, should not be solved in terms of separated tracks. And here we must talk about the inclusiveness of the peace process. We must also look to the crisis as a comprehensive crisis that have more than a cause. And here I don't think that they are saying anything wrong. The tracks must be somewhat re-studied critically, and should also meet the demands of the people, the local people, if they agree or otherwise. To the extent that we need some kind of a framework that you can see the ideas or the local people. So a lot of debate about these tracks are going, so there is a need to revise it and see how it is accepted or otherwise.
Why this track, the East track? Why people or those who are looking for, or those who prepared or who orchestrated the Juba, why they are not listening to the East, to the Bija? They are the majority, and why they are not going to open this track or to completely take it out of Juba agreement? Why? Why are they escalating? Because these people in the East, the Bija, they are very adamant and very strong about. Now they are waiting for certain purposes. They have certain. They will come very soon. They will close the port and they will close the lifeline again. Why people are not listening to them in this direction? Only the track in the peace agreement.
Yes, any peace is a property of the population, so it must be accepted by the population.
So if not accepted,
it should be accepted by the population. So there is a need to help people support the peace. So if people did not support the outcomes of these agreements, there's no need to go against their will.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Halim Isa Teman, for the hour or so we spent about the political upheaval now in Sudan and the deadlock. And we hope to see the viewers next week and the deadlock is broken and Sudan is back to peace and stability. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.